That's what I think to do.
Hey, now while you're here today, though, because we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and that's accreditation. And I don't think a lot...
I didn't know anything about this.
No, T didn't. I wasn't... I mean, I had an idea, but I wasn't... I guess I didn't know how involved it is. And you guys go through accreditation every 3
years.
Why don't you explain to the public what that means?
It's CALEA accreditation. CALEA is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It's a nonprofit corporation which was started in 1979. And it was born out of a need for oversight and accountability for law enforcement agencies nationwide. Now it's international, this body. There are 480 standards that we have to adhere to, and that extends into our policies, procedures, and practices. And we adhere to acknowledge best practices, international best law enforcement practices.
Now, do all, I mean, like, like Charles County, do they have to get accredited, or is it, how do they pick who, is it like an audit, like with the IRS, or how do they pick you?
Yeah, the on-site is very much like an audit. The initial accreditation, and no, you apply for it if you're eligible. You apply for it. And, you know, there's over 3,000 police agents, sheriff's offices in the United States.
Wow.
There's over 14,000 police agencies in addition to those 3,000 sheriff's offices in the U.S.
What would happen if you lost your accreditation?
Well, I mean, it would be publicly it'd be an embarrassment for the agency.
Yeah, right.
And there are agencies that have lost their accreditation. Either they pulled it voluntarily or they did not make it through the on-site. But an important point I'll make is there's only 764 accredited law enforcement agencies in the United States. We're very fortunate.
Out of the 14,000?
14,000 plus the 3,000 sheriffs.
Oh, wow, okay.
Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's are all accredited agencies. So we're very
great.
fortunate here in Southern Maryland. So what that tells the public is that we adhere to a very strict set of guidelines, policies, and management principles. Mm-hmm. And it makes law enforcement about as transparent as it can become. And I say about,
right,
because obviously some of the things, the nature of investigations and very sensitive information precludes us from just telling all, so to speak.
But how does the public play a role in this? I mean, does the public have a role, or do they just sit back and watch it happen?
No, absolutely. We want the public to participate, and you all are participating as part of the media. You know, I'll just make a point. The initial accreditation, you have to show them that you have your policies, procedures, and management set up according to CALEA standards. The second, which we achieved our second in 2010, not only do you have to show that you have the policies, procedures, and management principles in place, but you have to prove that you utilize them over the last 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So not only do you say, I walk the walk, you have to prove it. And now that's what we're doing again. Our two assessors are not from this local area. One is from Charleston, one is from Oklahoma. And they're here in the area, and they will spend a lot of time talking to the public.
Oh, really?
Not just command,
right,
not just the middle management, not just our employees, but the public, and specifically for you, the media. They're very interested in the public perception and how we communicate with the public, with the media, and with our employees, and with other law enforcement agencies. That's very important.
Well, it is a big deal. I mean, you know, you got to have some kind of connection to law enforcement, you know, and maintain that connection with the general public and media and everybody else.
I'll tell you how good the relationship is between your agency and our organization, and Cindy, who is the PIO for you. I'll never forget this, and I don't think she will either. The earthquake happened, bam. I'm at McKay's, I'm at the grocery store, I come out, she goes, I think that was an earthquake. I said, I think you're right, let's get to the station. We get to the station, crazy, phones are ringing, because it happened at what, like 2 in the afternoon, 2:30?
Something like that, yeah.
So, Cindy has our private line, so she knows how to get a hold of us when nobody else can. She called me and said, you're reporting that the bridge is closed, that the Solomon's Bridge is closed. I said, Cindy, we're not reporting that. I don't know who's telling you that. She goes, well, we got to figure out who's doing it. I said, it's Pax River. They sent out, somebody sent an email out to the Pax River employees. So we got on the air immediately. She said, okay, this is what, it is not closed yet. When they do, we'll close it, because that is a major thoroughfare. So we had to get on and tell people, listen, the emails that are going around, social media that's happening, that bridge is not closed down. They're going to close it down later to inspect. And that was, I was able to talk to her.
That's an important thing.
I mean, it was really important to get the right information out.
You know, that's one thing that we don't talk about a lot about in media in general. But, you know, with this social network, there's a lot of pluses to it. You know, you have all that instant stuff. but it's not always great to be first. It's better to be right.
Right.
And, you know, I can't tell you how many times people have called up our Facebook and said this, that, and the other is going on.
And then I
Why
call
aren't you
Cindy,
talking about
hold
it?
on a second, what's happened? No, that's not
Right.
what the situation
That's not what
is.
the situation
Yeah,
is.
timely, accurate information is critically important to us. And that's what we want to get to you. I remember, and it was a while ago, after a bank robbery, I called you from a checkpoint.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Because it was really important to get the timely and accurate information out and to elicit the public's help. We were looking for a suspect vehicle.
Right, exactly right. And we thought that they were traveling northbound on 5.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
yeah, and or 234, and we were saying, hey, look for the vehicles. So yeah, it really is important.
It is, and it's, that's what I always say. We always say that here. Yeah, great to be first, better to be right.
Exactly.
And God bless all you bloggers. I
Right.
know, but that's not how it works.
What's the hardest part of accreditation? I mean, you got to have something that makes you nervous when they come in and they start looking at your department, looking at the employees. What's the thing that makes you the most nervous? Bloggers?
Is it
No,
Cindy?
no. It's really the fact that you can't get ready for accreditation the week before, the month before.
It's not like
The
a test,
courtable.
right?
It's every day. You have to live the principles of CALEA.
Right.
So if you weren't preparing, those 3 years before, it's not something you can overnight get ready for. And that extends to every person in your agency. So we conduct business according to the CALEA principles. And that's both in management, how we treat our employees, how we communicate with the public, how we communicate with the media, how we communicate with other law enforcement agencies, our crime control models, policies, procedures. It incorporates a large part of what we do and how we do it. And it becomes second, it's automatic now. So but what makes you nervous is
Right.
that you're prepared. And I think that's just natural. And Cindy actually was our accreditation manager in our initial accreditation, which was nerve-wracking.
I bet.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking. They suggested that I go and sit in the hearing, a hearing before ours. Well, I sat in a hearing, this was in Montreal, where they were dissecting a police agency.
Oh my goodness.
And I literally walked out of that hearing room feeling sick. And I thought, thanks for the suggestion.
Right.
But the 21-member commissioner board, one of those commissioners is assigned your book, and they study that and they report to the other commissioners. And our hearing went very well. And what you find out is how you stack up with other agencies, what some of your initiatives.
Is there any state funding tied to accreditation?
No, accreditation is not inexpensive, but with that said, there are a lot of rewards to accreditation.
I mean, do you guys get more money if you reach a certain level of accreditation, or?
What we do is we get significant savings on our insurance.
Oh, really?
Okay,
Good,
that's
good.
big. That's
And
huge.
I think that more than pays for it. The other thing is it makes you less likely to be finding in a liability hearing or a judgment in court. The other thing is it ensures training across the board, discipline, accountability, very, very important things.
Well, let me
for us.
ask you this, the two gentlemen from Charleston and also Oklahoma, how do the public, I mean, they're not going to be walking the streets talking to the public. How are they going, excuse me, ma'am, I'd like to talk to you. How do the public, how do they go about?
Well, there's two venues for public contact. We have, today is a big day for us, Monday, not just tax day, but there's a public call-in time between 3 and 5 where the public can call in and speak to the assessors directly.
Oh, wow. Are you nervous about that?
No.
Just
no.
people calling up and,
No.
I got stopped for speeding, it was a speed trap, and they
Right.
got me riding on the shoulder, and I couldn't, but you're going to get a lot of that.
That's okay. I think that won't be the predominant message of the phone calls. And then there's a public hearing tonight at 6 o'clock in the Board of Commissioners meeting room. We've been through this twice, and I think it's reasonable to expect very similar things as
Sure.
the last two times.
Sure.
Okay.
So, the majority of people that have dealings with us, depending on what side you're on, speak very positively about that.
When are you up for re-election?
2014, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I was going to say, because, I mean...
On tax day.
It's right. So much of your job, how much of your job, and did you understand when you got into this, the political end of your job. I mean, it's so much you're dealing with
Budget,
accreditation, then you got to run re-election, and I mean,
You know, the politics of my job are significantly less than I thought it would be.
Really?
You know, growing up in this agency, spending a long time in this agency, and knowing it like I did, my perspective was that politics could be overbearing. They're not at all. And my interest is running a police agency.
Right.
Not dabbling in politics. But with that said, there's politics in everything you do in every place that you exist.
Absolutely.
So, but much less than I thought. And what I find in county government is a very small county government with people committed to getting the job done. So that often is the challenge, is working with several moving parts, several agencies. You know, nobody has enough anymore to do it completely themselves. So what I find is we have better working relationships with allied agencies, with other aspects of county and state and federal government.
Right.
give us that information on that public hearing again.
Yeah, the public call-in is tonight from 3 to 5. The number, and I wrote that number down on your pamphlets to call in,
Right.
is 301-690-2083.
2083.
2083.
Where are
Thank
your
you.
glasses?
You know what?
Do you need them? I have an extra
It's my
set.
contacts. And the public hearing tonight is in the Commissioners' meeting room at 6 p.m.
Okay, so 6 p.m. is the public meeting tonight in the Board of County Commissioners meeting room, and that call-in time and the number 301-690-2083. That's from 3 to 5. And you're asking people just to call about their experiences with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's
Please
Department.
call in and share your experiences with the assessors, pro and con.
Right.
The assessors are out and about, and they'll approach people.
Okay.
They'll stop in the 7-Eleven or the Wawa with.
Really?
They're doing ride-alongs with their officers as well. So they want to see the public interchange, that relationship between our patrol officers, detectives, and the public when they're out and about.
Those poor officers that are doing the ride-alongs, the pressure's on them too, right?
Well, again.
You have the cameras now. You
yeah.
have the cameras in the cars.
Yeah,
and
there
stuff.
is a sense of pressure, but you know, you feel that anytime somebody's in your police car. But
Right.
again, I think you know, this is not new to us, and we're a CALEA accredited agency. We believe that. It's part of our our foundation is CALEA. So
It would be awesome if they tased one of them.
Tased who?
One of the assessors.
That's not funny.
That
Don't
would be
say
great.
that. Maybe it'd be funny if they tased you.
That
Which I have been-
actually would be.
Which I have been campaigning for a very long time, Tim Cameron. But that
All right,
hasn't
listen,
happened.
Tim, we appreciate you coming in. I'm sure everything's going to be go fine for
And
this
we
time.
have all the information in studio
Yeah.
for tonight, for the meeting, and for this afternoon. If you'd like to call, we have the number here as well. So,
All right.
and I'll post that. I'll put that. I'll Facebook it and do all that fun social media. I'll blog about it.
Yeah, blog about
I'll
it.
blog about it.
Let me get a check of traffic, see what's going on the roads this morning.
Sure.
This traffic brought to you by My Doctor.